And I think it's recording now. Gio, can you confirm?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Perfect. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. My name is Aldo Socarras. Welcome to the first Flutter meeting for DSC FIU. If you don't know me by now, I'm very active on the Discord, but I am a new tech lead for mobile, focusing on Flutter technologies. And basically, the reason we want to push this technology and sort of go over the workshop so that you guys get familiar is that the solutions challenge is actually going on right now. And if you're not familiar with that, Google is basically doing this sort of challenge similar to like a hackathon, except it lasts from now to March 31st. If you guys haven't heard about it, I definitely recommend looking for it in our announcements. You're going to see it in our announcements. Also, if you Google the solutions challenge and then put Google, you'll most likely find it there. We are in sort of like the team building phase right now, but Flutter plays a big part in this challenge because you do need one technology, at least one Google technology, in order to sort of be evaluated as a possible winner. So if you're not familiar with Flutter, Flutter is basically a form of mobile development. And basically what it does is it's a UI toolkit that allows you to write apps that are almost native in one code base. And it uses Dart as the programming language. And basically what it does is if you were to build out an app using this Dart platform, using Android Studio, etc., it'll create sort of like a UI and an application for Swift, Android, or even web. I believe they're starting to support that now. Any questions so far? Perfect. All righty.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Quick question: How easy is Flutter to pick up for someone who's new?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. So Flutter is, if you've ever delved in web development, or if you touch JavaScript, or even object-oriented programming, you're going to be familiar with a lot of concepts that go behind Flutter. I feel like it's a little bit easier to learn than a lot of different other different mobile development platforms. For example, if you were to build an app for Android, right, you would have to obviously know Java or Kotlin. But if you wanted to have that same application in sort of iOS, you would have to either pick up Swift or maybe C to sort of build that application out. Flutter allows you to sort of do both at once without having to manage multiple code bases. But it's pretty easy to pick up. It's very familiar to a lot of people, especially if you've touched JavaScript, CSS, etc.
So how would you compare Flutter to React Native?
Honestly, I can't really compare it because I haven't done React that much personally. A lot of people can find some similarities, but I personally can't give you any personal information regarding that, unfortunately.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Any other questions? Alrighty, perfect. So I wanted to sort of go over the solutions challenge a little bit more. Again, we're trying to push this as much as possible. This is not the whole point of the club, but it's a big part of DSC FIU, and we want you guys to be as informed as possible going into the challenge. So I wanted to sort of share the challenge material real quick for you guys to sort of get you hyped, because it's definitely something to look forward to, and a lot of people have. Let me see if I can share screens real quick with you guys, and you let me know if you can see it. Okay, 1 sec. Okay, so let's do this. And sure. Can you guys see that? Better?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, cool. Awesome. So the solutions challenge is basically a challenge that Google is doing to sort of solve at least one of the 17 sustainable development goals. Like they're trying to sort of hit these goals, and we are going to go over them in a second. But I want you guys to sort of know what they're looking for in the evaluation criteria. So basically, similar to a hackathon, right? You develop an application, you develop some sort of software where you accomplish a goal. And this goal specifically is to target one of these right here, one of these sustainable goals from the UN. So some of these are no poverty, zero hunger, good health, well-being, etc. And your application needs to hit at least one of these. As you notice down here, we have impact for 60 points. And basically it goes over this entry, right? Your application, your software, whatever it is you're doing. Does this entry establish a clear challenge focus on one of the goals at least? It is explained in a clear manner. How effectively does the solution address the challenge? So last year we saw a lot of teams that were building a lot of cool apps. I believe one of them was from Korea. They were building an app for people to sort of help with their mental health, people that are going under hard times, etc. Lots of cool apps, lots of cool ideas. So if you guys want this information, if you haven't seen it yet, I will be posting it on the Discord later. But for now, just know that the biggest evaluation here is going to be impact. So how impactful is your project? Then it goes into the technology, which is basically, does your solution implement all the technical components needed to solve the challenge, right? So is your app in a state where it can sort of go into the hands of people, right? Is your app built in a way that it solves the challenge that you were trying to solve in the first place? Does it use a Google technology? And the technologies, you will see them, I believe in the frequently asked questions, you will be able to see them, but Flutter is one of them, Android's one of them. You could also look at Firebase. So if you use at least one of those, you'll be eligible for to be a winner, actually. Now the teams, they work, I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Gio, a teams of 4. Is that correct?
I think so.
Yeah. So teams of 4, you can make as many teams as you want within the club. So you're not limited in terms of, a cap on the actual club itself. But my suggestion to all of you guys is definitely participate. If you're going to participate, definitely make sure that you prioritize, that challenge, what you're solving. A lot of people have had some cool ideas so far. We have some teams already being built. So definitely hop on it as soon as you can. If you want to dive deeper into this page, you can click on any one of these. They'll show you infographics. They'll show you example projects, that people have built before, etc. So lots of cool stuff. And if any of this interests you guys, this will look great on your resume as well, which is a big thing. So Flutter, going back to Flutter. Flutter, the reason we are sort of pushing it a lot this semester is because it's one of the biggest technologies that you could use to sort of meet that technology criteria and focus on the challenge portion of your project, right? Flutter is a UI toolkit, again, that can be developed in a way that is sort of cross-platform, right? So it could hit Android, it could hit iOS, and even web. If you guys want to have a larger target audience, a larger sort of target for the solution that you're solving, it's definitely a great tool to be looking to learn this semester. Okay, sorry for this sort of Chrome thing I have going on. Just enlarges the images. So this is the timeline. This is how it's looking. This is more for how you should be building your team, right? And how you should be approaching the project, sort of like an agile methodology. The winners are, well, these are the previous winners, but the prizes include sort of mentoring from Google devs, include meeting Google executives, depending on what place you get, etc. If your product is good enough, you'll be sort of helped to get it into a place where it's sort of production ready. So that's pretty cool. All righty, cool. Quick question before we continue. Do you guys have Android Studio installed already?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, Jairo. What about everybody else? I just want to ask because I know that some people haven't done it yet, and I wanted to sort of go over the setup before we get started, so that you guys can have everything set up for whenever we actually start diving into it.
Sir, yes, sir.
Sir, I know you do because you're in CodePath.
but I wanted to confirm too.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and go to flutter.dev. And this is where we will be getting started. So I wanted to show you guys the process. It's very easy. You can do a lot of different things. You could build Flutter apps from different places, but we will be focusing on Android Studio, mainly because a lot of our people, a lot of our members from DSC FIU are participating in CodePath, so they already have the application installed, etc. And it definitely is useful. So if we click here on Get Started, that's, if you follow these steps right here, a lot of times you might run into errors, but we're here for you. So if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to sort of reach out. If you don't have it installed right now, just let me know in the chat or in voice, just so we can sort of get you started along. If everyone has it, just let me know as well. All right. I'm gonna stop sharing for 1 second. Cool. Alrighty. So I wanted to show you guys something cool before we continue. And this is one of the resources that I want you guys to sort of use throughout the semester, simply because it shows a lot of different applications, and it sort of guides you in building certain applications. So let me go ahead and show this for you. Alrighty.
Much better.
So I'm going to share screens real quick. Let me know if you can see that. Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, so this is, let me increase the size real quick for you guys. So this is Google Codelabs. So Codelabs is basically sort of hands-on tutorials that we were going to be using throughout the semester. I want you guys to get familiar with it simply because it does come directly from Google. And since the challenge is by Google, I want you guys to be able to have, as much information as possible going into the solutions challenge. If you go into codelabs.developers.google.com, you'll reach this page where you can filter actually by category. And these categories are usually different technologies that Google has, one of them being Flutter. Here, you can actually see a lot of different applications that you guys could build using Flutter. We will be going over this. However, for this meeting, I kind of wanted to keep it, real relaxed and sort of get you guys comfortable with what Flutter is, get you comfortable with the solutions challenge, and hopefully inspire you guys to get started on the challenge itself. A lot of these are very, very straightforward. For example, write your first Flutter app, part 1. If you go ahead and click start on that, it'll take you to a page, and they'll sort of go over what they'll be doing throughout the tutorial, but in a way that is sort of not holding your hand either. We are going to be using this a lot for the meetings, as mentioned, but every meeting, I'll sort of have like a little challenge for you guys to sort of get you moving, in terms of Flutter, get you creating apps, get you engaged, essentially. So I definitely recommend you guys get familiar with these pages. Also, if you go to the Solutions Challenge page and you go under Resources, you'll actually see a lot of different intro videos. You'll see how to design a sprint. It's basically to show you how you should be planning your challenge approach. Down here, you could also see different storyboard interviews, etc. The most important thing for me, though, is the learning content. Here, you'll definitely be finding, I guess, the meat, you could say, for what you want to do in terms of the solution challenge, the technology portion, right? We need at least one Google technology, so any of these will suffice. You have Android Basics and Kotlin. You have the Flutter, Firebase, etc. If you go under the Flutter pathway, you'll actually be able to see a lot of the different things that we'll be covering this semester. So if you want to sort of get ahead, get started on your own time, I definitely recommend this. And again, I'll be posting this in the Discord very soon. Any questions so far? Okay, perfect. So going back to the setup, the only things that we really need is Android Studio. Again, if you haven't installed it, go ahead and install that. Flutter.dev, get started. And essentially from here, you'll want to have the Flutter SDK, and you'll want to have both plugins, the Flutter plugin and the Dart plugin. Let me know if you guys can see my giant command prompt. Can you guys see that? I'm assuming you can.
We see the system requirements.
System requirements?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not seeing that. Okay. Let me see if I could sort of...
yeah, share the screen.
Yeah. All right, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so this is a giant command prompt. Once you guys are fully set up, I want you guys to be able to write down Flutter Doctor into the command prompt and see the following. You should be able to see that Flutter, the SDK, is installed. Don't worry about VS Code as much. Android Studio, definitely. Android toolchain. Actually, if we write Flutter Doctor -v, we'll be able to see a little bit deeper into what's being installed. So the Flutter plugin, very important, and the Dart plugin. Let me see if I could switch over to Android Studio real quick to show you guys sort of like the layout of Android Studio. That way you guys get familiar with it. Let me see if I can share this. Can you guys see that? Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. So when you first open up Android Studio, you're going to see this, or you might not. It really depends if you have the SDK installed for Flutter. Actually, if you don't, I think it'll still show it, but it just won't do anything. So if we go ahead and click on create new Flutter project, we'll go ahead and keep Flutter application selected. That's where we're going to be focusing on mainly. Here you could name your app whatever you want it, first app. And here is where we're going to find the SDK. Usually just by selecting the 3 buttons here, you'll be able to find it. If you don't have the SDK installed, you could do this, but I had some issues following this sort of wizard. So I recommend you guys follow the Google guide from the page directly and just sort of find the SDK through here. So if you find Flutter, click OK. I should be able to find it. I think I already have a first app in there, so I'll just call it hello. And we'll go next. You can click OK on that. This includes support for Swift, as you can see, and Kotlin for Android devices. So if you click finish on that, it should be creating the project. And let me show screens. I think it stopped. Let me share the screen real quick. Can you guys see it now again? Oops. Perfect. There we go. Sort of. There we go. Okay. Let me try to make it bigger for you guys. Although we're not going to be diving into the code just yet, okay? This is what Android Studio looks like. Android Studio is basically going to be our home for Flutter this semester. On the left, we're going to have different panels. And these panes, you have the project one, which is going to be basically where your code base lives in. You have the library, which it contains the main.dart, which is where the application is going to live in. Other than that, you also see the iOS here, which is basically the code base for iOS, and then Android up here. I'm sure Clement is a little bit familiar with this one since he's doing CodePath. But this is basically what the project pane looks like. Down here, we see structure, and then we see resource manager as well. I don't think yeah, there we go. So I don't think this one's built yet, so we'll wait. But a big thing in Android Studio is actually the emulators. So within Android Studio, we could actually set up different devices to sort of emulate what our app will look like on different screen sizes, etc. Or if you want to try iOS and you want to see what it looks like in Android, right? So right here on the, let me see, on the right-hand side, you're going to see, this is the SDK manager. You're going to see this no devices. You could either open up the Android emulator. If you don't have one, I believe we can navigate to tools and then AVD manager right here. You'll be able to find sort of like your virtual devices. This is where you're going to be able to set up different devices. So if you go down here on the left, create virtual device, you'll see all the different phones that we have. And we also have TV, we have tablets. Remember that, Android's open source. So anybody could pick it up technically. Your fridge, if you wanted to build an app for your fridge, you could. I don't know that you would use that for this challenge, but you definitely could. You could do pixels, you could do other devices, etc. Usually the one that's recommended is the Pixel 3 if you're doing Android development, or if you're doing iOS, go ahead and find that as well. But for now, we'll stick with the Pixel 3. We'll go ahead and click next on that. And these are the different APIs that we have. A lot of them support sort of different, I guess you could say different technologies, because I've run into issues where one API won't be able to, run certain classes, etc. Usually you want to stick with either one of the newer ones, 29. That's a stable release, so we're gonna do that one for this case specifically. You can name your device right here. Call it hello device. You can set the orientation, the default orientation. This could always be sort of changed later on as well, but we'll keep it as is for now. And once you have it set up, the app that you're building out, you'll be able to actually run it, right? So if you click on the run, top right here, let me see if I could, there we go. So let's open up the emulator. Where it says no devices, it'll sort of show the different virtual machines that we have. And if we click run, it should be building out your app. So this one's the default one that comes with Flutter once you do a new Flutter project. And once that builds up, you'll be able to actually see the application pop up in here. In the meantime, the emulator, you could actually rotate to test different functionalities to make sure that you're adjusting for landscape, etc. So pretty cool. Any questions so far? I know we've covered a lot of material, but I just want to make sure that you guys are getting familiar with the environment. All right, we got an all good here from Frank. Cool. Android setup, pretty cool. I know. Perfect. So this is, let me see. I believe my device might be powered off. Okay, yeah, it was powered off. My bad. So this is the sample application, I guess, that they have in terms of the Flutter project, right? Now, Flutter is basically, I don't want to dive too deep into it again this sort of time around, but Flutter is basically built with widgets, and it sort of works like building blocks, sort of like Legos. You build widgets on top of widgets to sort of create this application that you're sort of trying to create. The good thing about Flutter is that a lot of things are sort of pre-built, and it is open source. So if you have any questions regarding any sample code that you're looking at, etc., on Android Studio, you can just go over it and actually see the original code, where it comes from and how it was written, etc. But any questions so far? I know that we have a new member here. Ozzy, welcome. Alrighty. And let me see if you have any questions in the chat. Perfect. Can you make the text larger? Absolutely, Gio. Thank you for reminding me. Let me see if I remember how to do this, because last time I had an issue. If you guys have any suggestions on how to make the text larger while I look for it, let me know. I'm gonna look in settings for now. I think this might be it. Let's see, 24 maybe. Apply. Okay, that looks nice. That looks good for everybody. And can you guys see the emulator? I don't know if that ever showed up for you guys. Can't see it? Okay.
No, I don't see the emulator.
And I was here talking about how it's turned off. Yeah, let me see if I can
just share the screen and not the application.
How does that look for you guys?
I see it.
Oh, you see it? Okay, cool. So this is what I was sort of trying to show you earlier. But essentially, this is what the emulator looks like. You could rotate it to go landscape, etc. A lot of applications, like for example, in Android development, you have to sort of accommodate for different orientations. You do have to do the same here, but obviously it's a little bit, well, it's a little bit smaller, the code base. You don't have to accommodate for iOS. You could just do it all with the Dart programming language. We're not going to dive into it yet, but I wanted to sort of show you guys what it looks like. And if you guys, I'm going to go ahead and send you guys this. I mean, actually, I don't need to, because this is a new project. So if you guys actually go into the new Flutter project, you'll get this. So far, do we have anyone that's not set up yet? with Android Studio? I know Ozzy just came in. I just want to make sure that you guys are good to go. Okay, all good. Perfect. Now, do you guys all have, let's see, Flutter SDK? You have the Dart plugin, the Flutter plugin. This could all be found also, if you're not familiar, either in settings or if you go on the top right, I believe SDK Manager, you'll be able to find plugins down here. You know, just to make it shorter for you guys. Or you could just do File, Settings, and then same thing, plugins. So you should have both of these installed. Perfect. I think everybody is good to go. Yeah, let's see. So we have 15 minutes left. We can sort of play around with the app a little bit. Let's see if we can sort of see what it looks like, what changes can be made. Just to let you guys know, Flutter uses hot reload, and it's basically similar to, oh, I don't think it's similar to anything right now, but hot reload allows you to make changes on the fly, and you'll sort of see them pop up on the application without having to save and without having to rerun your application. So that's pretty cool. I definitely recommend you guys sort of play around with it, as it'll be useful, you know, especially if you're trying to build an app that's you already have the storyboard set up, you have everything the way that you want to sort of go about it. You'll be able to make the changes quick if you're running into any issues, etc. So super, super cool. Here, for example, we're looking at the widget for the actual application. Up here, we see Flutter demo, and then we see Flutter demo homepage. If you were to make a change here, for example, removing the homepage part, usually you would have to save the app. I think with Flutter, all you have to do is save the actual code. So I usually use Control S, just like any other IDE, and it'll pop up immediately in here. So that's pretty cool. Changing the color, same thing. If you were to go for red and you save the code, you'll see that it'll show that primary swatch as red instead of blue that we were seeing before. So that's pretty cool. Any questions so far in terms of hot reload, Flutter, maybe even Android Studio? CodePath gang, hello, Henry, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Perfect. Alrighty. So yeah, as I mentioned before, Flutter is going to be built with widgets. You will get more familiar with these as time goes. For today, I do want you guys to do something. So let me see if I can, you guys can still see this, right? The screen? There's a couple resources that I wanted you guys to sort of go over and see. They've already mentioned them before, but I will put it in the Discord again. So we have a Flutter dev, obviously. This is where we're going to get started with Flutter. This is where we're going to find out where to install it, how to set up the editor, etc. We're using Android Studio again. And the thing that I want you guys to do is actually go to Codelabs, you know, definitely explore around. Make sure you go to Flutter, and if you can, get started on these two parts. So part one, write your first Flutter app, and then part two, write your first Flutter app part two. Haido, I know you said you have experience with Flutter already. I don't expect you to do this specifically, but I do encourage you to navigate Codelabs, sort of check it out. I'm sure you've heard about it before, but just sort of check it out and see what we can make. I want you guys to be sort of engaged. So I will give you like mini projects, mini challenges every sort of session. Today, I just want you guys to build that first app. So once you are set up, or if you have any issues setting up, just please let me know on the Flutter channel for DSC FIU, and I'll be available any time of the day. If you ping me, I might be sleeping later on, but I will answer 100%. So definitely.
I was like, uh-oh, my
So definitely, once you guys get started on this specific app, it creates sort of like a startup name generator. I showed Gio, he said, it was sort of something that he doesn't see being used too often. And I agreed 100%, but I do want you guys to get familiar with not only Codelabs, but the basic structure of a Flutter app. This one specifically, although you might not use it in the solutions challenge, it does show you a little bit of the structure, right? And it shows you how to use the hot reload, etc. So it's pretty cool. This is what it's going to look like at the end. I believe the part 2 sort of goes over how to add like a favorites list. So if you were to heart something, you'll be able to see it on this list on the top right. I actually might have the app on my end. Let me see if I can show you real quick so I can show you what it looks like. I'll stop sharing for 1 second. And let me load it up here on the projects. So I think it's this one. Startup namer, yes. And I'll share screens right now, guys. Perfect. Let me know when you guys could see this. I think you should all be able to see it. Perfect. Frank said it's basically VS Code for mobile. Yep, sounds about right. I mean, VS Code looks very similar. So definitely. You don't need Android Studio. You could use VS Code, but we are going to be focusing on Android Studio this time around, at least for these sort of lectures. So I definitely recommend you guys get used to it. Or, if you want to do it in VS Code, you can. I'll still give you the projects. There are many challenges for you to do. Okay. I don't think I missed any other questions for now. Okay, perfect. So I think I have the app loaded. Perfect. So this is what the app looks like, or it should look like after part 2. So basically what it does is it sort of gets, using a library for English words, it'll sort of get 2 words, put them together and create this infinitely loaded list. It doesn't generate like a certain number. It just sort of shows you, I believe it's like 10 or 15 words, and then it'll keep loading them as you scroll down. So it shows you a little bit different sort of concepts, right? This application. And the cool thing is that it does allow you to add like a favorites list. A lot of you guys might want to do something similar for your application. Either way, if not, it'll show you, again, the basic structure of this Flutter app, okay? So it's pretty cool. I definitely recommend you guys do that. I will be posting the link. Let me see the chat. Thy faith is strong. Yes. But I'll definitely be posting the links for these 2 tutorials and Codelabs as well for you guys. Any other questions? I think I'm going to cut it short this time around because I know we have the blockchain meeting coming up at 8. I want you guys to have some time in between and also some time to play around with Android Studio and Flutter. The session is recorded, Henry, so if you want to go back to it, I'll go ahead and share the link later. So for now, I think if you guys have no other questions, I think we could call it. But I hope you guys are hype. I definitely want you guys to participate more in the solutions challenge. Build your teams. A lot of people have already started building teams and also coming up with ideas. So definitely look at the channels. Post that you're available. If you don't have a team, post that you're available. Post your current knowledge, what you don't have, but if you have any ideas in general, just post that. I'm sure somebody will definitely reach out. I know that I've been reaching out to people, so definitely recommend it. Where's the link to the projects we can do in Flutter? So this is called Google Codelabs. I think I have the link here on this one. So if you go to codelabs.developers.google.com, again, I'll be posting it in the Flutter channel, you'll be able to find the Codelabs. You could filter by category down here. And if you find Flutter, you'll be able to find these projects. That one's gonna be all the way in the bottom. A lot of other cool ones include material design. If you are more familiar with Java, maybe you want to get into Flutter and you want to sort of transition well into it, this tutorial might be able to help you. I definitely recommend you guys sort of explore. We'll be going over certain things. For example, get to know Firebase for Flutter in later sessions, but I want you guys to be hype. I definitely am for the solution challenge and for Flutter. Sounds good? And also, no, Java's not the way to go, guys. Sorry about that. I don't know why Clement said that. No, I'm kidding. Perfect. So I'll be ending the recording now, guys. If you have no other questions, thank you so much for joining the first Flutter meeting. I hope you liked it. We definitely have a lot more to come, especially as the semester sort of unfolds. Blockchain challenge meeting coming up, not challenge, blockchain meeting coming up soon. So definitely look out for the announcements in the DSC FIU page. Thanks again for joining me, guys. And I hope you have a wonderful day.